Have you ever noticed that out on the water, a lot of times you can tell somebody's personality either by the type of boat they have or the type of activity they're doing out on the water? Kind of like them tuner boys. We already know they like to chill out and relax a little more than the rest of us. Or how about those yachties, those guys with the big boats that like to get out there and cruise? Of course, they've got the biggest boats on the water, so they think they're a little more privileged than everybody else, and they can go wherever they want, whenever they want. But today we're going to talk a little about that, the types of people we'll see out on the water, and the kind of personalities that are kind of associated with those people. But welcome back, crew, to this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Now, I'm sure we're going to miss some, so if we miss something, let us know in the comments below, and go ahead and hit the like button now. It's free and a great way to support the channel. But once again, we'll start right there with the yachties. The yachties got all the big boats, and of course, they've got that attitude, we're the biggest on the water, and we can do whatever they want. But one of the problems the yachties forget sometimes is mo money, mo problems. The bigger the boat you got, sometimes the bigger the problems you'll have when you're trying to do things such as simple docking maneuvers. Now, our next crew is going to be them jet ski boys. They probably get one of the worst raps out there in the water. Most people think them jet ski boys are those full send guys out there hooning it up and having a good time. But the reality is anymore, most of the time when I'm out on the water and I see jet skiers, it's actually people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. These skis have gotten expensive, and this crew is not quite the same people we imagine or the kind of reputation they get. In fact, I kind of feel like the jet ski boys are just those boys who really wanted to get out there and have a good time on the water regardless of their age. Now, our next category, we're going to move back and talk about those tuner boys, and this one is a different category overall. It goes two ways. A lot of people get into pontoons because they're cheap and an easy way to get on the water, but they're not only cheap, they come expensive as they can get as well, and many times that category falls into that tuner boy who is tired of going fast, tired of trying to live life in the fast lane altogether in boating, and just wanted to slow down, relax, and have a good time with his friends at a slower pace on the water. And before I already know, yes, there are plenty of pontoons out there that will do 50, 60 miles an hour, just like some of these center consoles, and those center console boys have changed a little bit as well. A few years back, if somebody said they had a center console, you would think they only fish, but that's not the case. Nowadays, they likely have their family out there as well. And that'll bring us to those old jet boat boys. For whatever reason, the perception about jet boats is that if we see one, it's probably somebody new on the water, but that's just not the case. At one point in time, they used to be cheap boats, now they're pretty darn pricey. These guys are the hooligans of the water, though. I don't care what anybody tells me. Those tinny boys out there with their little tins go out and hoon it up with the best of them. Most of the time, back in the day, when I would think about the little tin boats, all I would think about was people going out hunting and fishing. The reality is these guys will do whatever they want with these boats now. They're just versatile boats. They can basically drop it anywhere, run over anything. As long as the motor hangs on, the boat's gonna be fine. Now, of course, we talked about the tuner boys and their slower pace of life, but there is one person who truly believes in that slower pace of life more than the tuners, and that's gonna be the old blow boys. Now, the blow boys are definitely a special bunch and definitely think they're superior to most boaters out there on the water because, well, they don't have to pay for fuel, even though these sailors here, I'm imagining, are actually wishing they had paid for fuel. And to top it off, of course, they've got the right of way on everything and everyone on the water. At least that's the way they feel. Doesn't matter what it is. Even in this situation, they can't understand why that bridge is in their way. But I guess this sailor forgot here he's actually under power, so he's considered a power boat and does not have the right of way. But of course, if he was under sail, it wouldn't matter who or what it is. It's supposed to move and get out of his way. Now, one thing about sailors as well is they never really think that we as power boaters will ever truly understand the real form of boating. Understand the true pleasures of being able to just get out there and be one with the boat and Mother Nature. And to some form, they're actually correct. If you've never been sailing, there is something special about being out there in the water and just it being calm and quiet. No motors running and just enjoying the time as you enjoy your sail. And I will give it up to the sailors. Sailing is a much more difficult task than just going out there and nailing the throttle on a center console like many of us do. They've got a lot more things to take into account, and I do give it up to them on that one, that they've got some of that figured out. Thanks for watching, crew. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might see your stories over here, just like Robert Thummer, Minimum Woke, Top Tier State, Testarosso, Mark Stephen Baker, Leland Flattery, Robin Moody, Charleston Outdoors, Will Langley, and Will Everlearn did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.